All right, today we are diving into something pretty wild. It's a text called Favored Races, which bills itself as a Eugenic Manifesto. Now, look, we're not here to debate this thing. Our goal is just to understand the arguments it's making, as strange as they are. So, let's get into it. So, here's how we're going to break this down. First up, we'll look at what favored races actually is. Then, we'll get into the so-called crisis the author thinks we're in. After that, the eugenics solution he proposes. From there, we'll tackle how it deals with race and evolution. And we'll finish up with the new political order it wants to create. Okay, first things first. What is this document? I mean, you'd probably guess it's some old, obscure pamphlet from 100 years ago, right? Well, the truth is actually a whole lot weirder than that. Yeah, get this. This wasn't just some dusty book on a shelf. It was actual, official campaign literature. And it was being passed out by someone running for the U.S. Congress in Tennessee in 2002. I mean, that's not that long ago. The guy behind it, James Hart, was pretty upfront about what he was doing. Sure, on the surface, he was asking for campaign donations, but his real goal, it was way, way bigger. He wanted to start a brand new religion and a politic based on these ideas. So you gotta ask, what was the problem he saw that was so huge it needed a whole new religion to fix it? Well, his entire argument, his whole worldview really, it all comes down to one single idea, that our society is in a deep, deep crisis. And he even has a word for it, a term he made up, dysgenics. For him, this means humanity is actually de-evolving. We're not moving forward, we're in a downward spiral. And he points the finger squarely at modern society. And he doesn't mince words. He claims that our society is literally creating a generation of parasites and problem makers. And at the same time, we're stopping the people who could fix those problems from even being born. So in his mind, we are actively engineering our own doom. So who's to blame for all this? According to Hart, pretty much everyone and everything. He goes after social welfare systems. He calls both capitalism and communism fairy tales. He dismisses major religions as 2,000-year-old ghost stories. But his biggest target? The idea that all men are created equal. He thinks that's the most dangerous myth of all. Okay, so he's laid out this huge problem, dysgenics. What's his solution? Well, it's pretty radical. And he frames it as a kind of new moral duty for all of humankind. He calls it evolutionary ethics. And let's be clear, he's not talking about just tweaking a few laws. This is supposed to be a total replacement for, well, for all of our existing morals, religions, you name it. And it's all designed to get human evolution back on track. So how do you sell an idea like that? Well, he tackles the biggest objection right away. He knows people will call it cruel, so he flips it. He says, no, eugenics isn't cruel. In fact, he claims it's the highest expression of concern and love for the children of the future. It's a pretty bold rhetorical move. So here's the logic he lays out, step by step. It starts with this massive kind of cosmic idea that humans are the consciousness of the universe. Okay, if you buy that, then he says our moral duty is to preserve and improve our species. From there, good is just anything that improves humanity, and evil is anything that weakens it. And if you follow that chain of thought, he argues, you land at what he sees as the only possible conclusion. A eugenics program isn't just an option, it's a moral must. Right, so this whole framework of evolutionary ethics, it leads directly to the most controversial part of this whole thing. It's the part that actually gives the book its title, his concept of favored races. And to try and give this all a veneer of science, Hart leans heavily on Charles Darwin. Specifically, he keeps bringing up the full original subtitle of On the Origin of Species. You know the one? Or the preservation of favored races in the struggle for life. He really hammers on that favored races part to make his case. You can even see this idea right on the cover of the manifesto. He takes that classic March of Progress image, ape to man, and basically implies we're going the other way. He's warning that we're on the verge of degenerating back to the level of the subhuman primate. It's evolution in reverse, right there on the cover. And this is where his argument gets, well, really slippery. It's full of contradictions. Like, in one breath, he'll state flat out that races are unequal. But then he immediately walks back, saying, oh, but there's no superior race as such, and everyone should be judged on individual merit. He even says eugenics is a moral commitment, not a racial affiliation. It's a classic move, right? Say something extreme, then soften it to make it sound more palatable. So where is he going with all this? What's the end game? Well, the last part of the manifesto makes it crystal clear. It's a call for a total political revolution. Yeah, in Hart's mind, you can't just reform the system. It's broken beyond repair. He argues that our major political and religious institutions aren't just failing, they are the cause of this whole dysgenic crisis. So what do? You have to tear it all down. And it's interesting, he's very careful to set his movement apart from mainstream conservatism. He says, look, the traditional right wing gets it wrong because they want to defend these broken institutions. He positions his eugenics movement as the only one that truly gets it, the only one that sees the corruption, and as the real solution. And this rejection of the status quo, it goes right to the very top. He absolutely despises democracy. He has this incredible quote where he calls it the Ouija board theory of government. His point is that asking the general public to make complex decisions is like asking them to design a spaceship. It's just absurd to him. And in the end, the whole thing, this entire bizarre manifesto, it all boils down to this one huge question he poses. Are we responsible for the destiny of man and the universe? By making it about something so massive, so cosmic, he tries to justify everything that came before, overthrowing our ethics, our politics, everything. It's a really chilling way to end, taking you through what seem like logical steps to a place that is, well, deeply disturbing.